of the gods has happened. It has been initiated today, September the 29th of 2020. The battle of the gods has happened. It's funny, somebody just said that if you're wondering if I would go live, people were hitting me up being like, is Full Disclosure going to go live tonight? Special? And I'm like, no, but maybe I'll go live on my Instagram. Why not, right? This is my take on what's happened today. My take would be that, number one, there, using my computer monitors as some fucking ring light action. What did you expect? Like, number one, it's Saturn direct today with Mars retrograde square it in Aries, battle of the gods. Like, this total, like just cluster crap of crazy crap. It's also like, let's take away from the individuals at the moment. Mars retrograde in Aries, square Saturn that just came direct in Capricorn. So tradition against like action oriented, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, right? Just clashing. So there was this trying to keep tradition. No. And let's be honest, Trump did not do anything right when it comes to following protocols and rules. I think it's understandable from the last debate for anybody to kind of at some moments maybe say something, but I just found an article, it was 128 times that he interrupted. So I don't think that does good for Trump at all. I think, especially with this Mars retrograde square, or trine his Mars in Leo. I mean, he was definitely he was the Mars, and Biden was Saturn. And so that kind of brings a very interesting element into things, because Saturn is at its home position, and so is Mars, but Mars is retrograde. So it's almost like, yeah, maybe some people might like the Mars thing and be like, well, you see him as Trump is more as like he's there, he's with it, he's more into, he's got a lot to say. But then with Biden, it's like, yeah, but he plays by the rules at least. And at least Biden's keeping it like proper. But it's Saturn energy that Biden was under, so it was kind of like not, there's not a lot kind of there, you know? It was almost kind of like, but at least he stayed within the rules. So it's like, you know, you got to look at that, and you kind of have to be like, okay. And somebody just put that Biden couldn't speak well. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of that. There was also a lot of things that I thought both of them did not do morally correct. Like, they both attacked each other in really weird ways. I thought it was weird that Biden called Trump more names, like clown and a racist and, of course, a liar and stuff like that. And, of course, Trump was calling Biden other things, but he was mainly attacking Hunter Biden and, of course, the whole Obama administration. And so it was a very... I was surprised that Trump didn't say Sleepy Joe. I think he called him like "you're number 2" or something. But it was a total crap show of crap. And I feel, astrologically speaking, this has set off what I think, okay, so take away from the debate and all the craziness and weirdness and the obvious truth that Trump definitely way overstepped his lines, and that Biden stayed in his lines and proved that maybe he's not all like, I don't know how you would put it, but he's obviously aware enough to be able to understand the conversations and understand what's going on, and that was all he had to prove. But besides that, if you go to the very end, where it's this debate whether or not it's a legal election, that's the war. That's the war. And how it's going to, even being set up is like, will you tell your bases, like, are you all prepared to relax and wait for the results of the election? It could be weeks. It could be possibly months. If it does go months, then it goes into some really weird stuff that only you see on House of Cards, which that brings up the kind of weird thing for me, is that this is like House of Cards. When the election happened in House of Cards I think it was 7 seasons, so it's season 6 or it might be season 5. It's the last season that you actually see, what's his name on there? Well, of course, Frank Underwood, but Kevin Spacey. The last season that Kevin Spacey's on, and he's running for president, and a bunch of chaos happens in that election night, and then it's called a fraudulent election. And then it goes to just a couple states. It goes to Ohio, and I think Tennessee is where the last 2 states have to do a revote. Well, because it goes past, I forgot the exact number of days, but I think it's after 64 days or something like that. If there is no winner decided, then the Speaker of the House prior becomes the president. That's an acting president. So, and they were able to avoid that, and they were able to get, it gets really weird. And I think that people aren't realizing that a lot of this, and especially the predictions I've been making astrologically, is I always, no matter what, I looked at the astrology, I look at all the Aquarius coming up, I look at both their charts. There's something saying that both these guys might not become president. I don't know why I still feel that way. I feel like they're going to battle each other so much only to get to a point to where we might see somebody else take the role of president somehow. And then, I don't know. It's very House of Cards style. It's very weird to me, too, that Kevin Spacey wasn't able to do the last season because, of course, his sexual allegation charges. And then those actually he actually won in court because I guess the guy that accused him and his mom were tampering with evidence. And I don't know if y'all remember, it was Thanksgiving, I think 2018, when Kevin Spacey did that weird video in the kitchen and he was carving up a turkey. And then he told everybody, I'll be back, and he fucking did the whole Frank Underwood shit, right? So it's there's something weird about is there going to be something that goes in such a weird way that one of them comes back after a result or after a placeholder or something, and then comes back from, I don't want to say the dead, but kind of reemerges when we're not expecting it? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be something weird. No, not Spacey, not as president. No, I'm saying that taking the identification of the show. But there's definitely a lot of weird shit going down. With Mercury and Scorpio, especially in the opposition to your Uranus coming up. I also was seeing a lot of this stuff just right after, especially the GOP releasing the Durham report, which is all about the spying on Trump and all that stuff, and they're releasing all the unclassified documents now. Because it felt to me, it felt like to me like Joe Biden was there and wanted to connect with voters, that he cares about people and wants to make this about the people. And that became very clear, and that he was able to just do it without saying it, without like making it a thing, just like by just showing up and just being there like, yo, like I'm here, I'm cognitive. And I think he did a good job at that. I'm going to give that guy props. Because even me, I was questioning, like, is this guy going to fumble so bad? He fumbled a little bit, but he didn't like fumble completely or, you know, forget his name or something like that, right? You know what I mean? And yes, somebody had said that he kept looking at camera. That's an old trick from the first debate of JFK and Nixon. And the reason why JFK won was because of the first video televised debates and how well across JFK came across and not Nixon. So, although I don't think that Joe Biden pretty much came across good, right? It's not like it was like, I think it's more of just the character of Trump that's more in, because actually, I'll be honest, I think Joe looked dead, like you know, like his skin color and the way his eyes, I think they pumped him full of something. His eyeballs, you couldn't see his eyes, like they were almost like his pupils were so big, and his eye expressions at some moments were like you know, when they would ask him a question, I was like, they got that full pumped up on something. It was also 9 p.m. to like 10:30 p.m. and he's been doing all of his stuff before noon, won't do anything after noon, like not like afternoon, but afternoon itself. So, but I think the point that I'm making here is I think that Trump came in there pretty much based off his chart too, and I think this is Trump's hard lesson. You know, Saturn went direct at 25 degrees, so it's opposing his Venus at 25, 26 Cancer, okay? I think it's actually 25 direct, exactly. And so Trump's a Leo rising at 29 degrees. Even if you use Vedic astrology, he's a Leo rising. So the ruler of his 10th house of career, fame, and recognition, and his job, and so forth, is Venus. So Saturn in opposition to his Venus, and Saturn ruling his 6th house of Capricorn, he's at a very hard point of like with how he conducts his, well, Capricorn character, of how he is able to be in reality to the kind of things that he wants to have with his life. So this would be Trump's worst debate. If they continue the debates, that might not be a thing. Who knows? You know, I think the weirdest part of it all is going to be that Trump went in there with an agenda. I don't think Trump is stupid to think, like, based off Trump's chart, with North Node now entering on top of his sun in Gemini, and he's got Uranus in Gemini, and he's got the North Node in Gemini. He's not no dummy, right? So it's not like he was so lost in his ego that he intentionally already knew he was going to do this, because his main point isn't debating him. His main point was to use a stage to get whatever talking points he wanted to about corruption against him that he feels. So it wasn't even about the vote for Trump based off his chart, especially with the Saturn up, you know, and he also has Mars trines Mars, like I said. Whereas I feel Biden, of course, was doing the traditional thing of how to become a president, where I think Trump's doing a very Iranian move. Let me just blow out tradition in my Gemini way, and let me talk over and say whatever I want to say, which is actually very narcissistic. And let me get all of what I want to say out in areas that probably won't be asked, even though he gets 2 minutes to say whatever he wants. So it's kind of weird. But I feel that he feels like he has nothing to lose, since already the media doesn't like him. So imagine that. You have to kind of take it from like the standpoint of somebody going, well, if they already don't like me so much and they already think I'm crazy, they're already going to call me crazy no matter what I say. So I might as well be crazy. I feel like it's like, that's the whole Uranian thing, that he did a red herring from the election. Like, look at the corruption of Hunter Biden and go look at the corruption, because that's all that's been on him for 3+ years, right? So coming from a Leo rising standpoint that he is, and coming from the North Node on his sun, this is bringing up a lot for him about where his ruler of his chart, the sun, being a Leo rising, has the North Node on it in the 10th house. His reputation, the things that have happened to him. And I feel that he used this debate as the red herring to go, no, the election's the red herring. Let me take you here, Let me take you to these things. I just want to go there, and I don't care how I have to do it. And you're right, Biden was rude too. So they both... But you have to be real. I'm an astrologer, and I'm coming from a neutral place. I know a lot of people lately have been saying I'm not neutral because they see me putting... Like, I just think Biden's hilarious as far as the fact that the meme game against Biden is hilarious. The meme game against Trump is not that funny. Like, it's like more like, okay, like it's just the corn pop was a bad dude. Like, I'm sorry, and he ran with a bunch of bad boys. Like, I don't know. There's just I just put all that stuff out because it's funny. People are making funny things. I'm a comedian. I like comedy. But I feel that, it's like you can't be weird about Biden playing by the rules. So you can't. I'm playing completely neutral here. That he played by the rules, even though of course he broke a couple of them. No, it's like those are passable because those are normal in debates. There's always going to be people that interrupt once in a while. But I think that what we just witnessed is something never seen before, as of course a Sun Uranian person would do, like Trump. Is he wasn't even thinking about it being a debate. Did you notice he didn't even have notes? And he came there you could see the Uranus in him and the facial expressions, and anything that Biden would say, he would just go nuts, no, whatever, right? Like it's the Uranian way of creating a chaotic situation to have people, Uranus rules people, see whatever he wants to see. Like, why? Because the media is not covering a lot of stuff that's actually going down, right? I'm not trying to back him up. I'm just saying, like, this is how, especially I was a reality TV star. I'm a YouTuber, I've been in this game for getting my word out for over a decade, 15 years. So if it were me and I'm a Leo rising and I had a stage that everybody in the world's going to watch and it's going to be uninterrupted and they're not going to cut the transmission, and you feel like you've been besieged in some way, because, this could be his own thing, right? It's not like you or I are sitting up there in Congress and sitting in the back doors of the government and actually know the truth. None of us do. But if for some reason he feels that way, this is his way of going, hey, everybody, look at this, because the media won't look at it. And the media won't talk about this stuff. So that was his game plan, which we'll see. It's funny because tonight I laughed. I bounce between CNN and Fox News, right? But I always keep it on CNN because, one, they have better cameras than Fox. I don't know what it is up with Fox, but they always have shitty cameras. And I'm somebody in media, and I'm like, I want to watch the highest quality. I don't know, or the transmission's better. I don't know. Fox is kind of cheap with their fucking equipment. But what's the weirdest part through the whole thing was that I think it was David Axelrod who was, of course, Biden's main guy who got him the presidency. Well, I think that this is the end of Trump. And I think he said that for like 4 years in so many different ways, right? And I was like, the impeachment was already supposed to be the end of Trump. And Or like, yeah, somebody brought up the tax thing. The other thing was weird. That's just weird to me. Like, I was like, you really think that's the end? Like, I was like, I don't know. There's something weird about Trump's way of style that he's kind of like for. You have to, and I'm going off astrology. Sun Uranus is, you know, chaotic and shocking in order to, and for especially in Gemini, like he is, and Uranus in Gemini, to shock people into something. Like, hey, let's look at this. Let me do something that's not traditional. And so there's a weird thing here where it's like, I think what it does is it makes people go, okay, even if maybe they are whatever side they're on, it makes them look at a lot of things. Like, if people are going to look at Trump's tax stuff, are people going to go look into the Hunter Biden thing that actually Congress is laying out? Whereas the New York Times article, from my research, they're not releasing it fully, right? So it's like being reported, but it's not being released. So we don't really know, you know. It was also the moon on top of Neptune. So in Pisces, and starting to square the nodes. And so this is where this whole paradigm of weirdness is starting to begin, of what should be or what's just to get out the fact, what's more important. You know, there's this whole thing about fact checking. I thought it was very ironic that on the fact checking part on CNN, of course, they call out Trump on his lies. They call out Biden and say, they always say something different. Like, well, he did say things not in the right context. I'm like, well, what's the difference? Like, so there's a lot of, like, depending on where you're watching this shit too, and it's very Neptune media moon. You have to remember that the debates last debate 4 years ago was South Node Neptune and Pisces. So this was Moon Neptune and Pisces with the square of the nodes. So in many ways, this is bringing up all of the debate situations that happened in 2016 with Hillary and Trump. I thought that the most interesting thing that actually came out of it all was at the end, of course, and then with the ballots and what, you know, how to look at that. I think Trump is smart in some really radical ways, but I think in some simple ways he's not. Like, when Chris Wallace said, like, well, in 2018 there was 31 million at-home ballots, it's like, yeah, absentee ballots. But, like, Trump should have said, yes, but now there's 80 million ballots of just being sent to people on that they didn't even register. Maybe they did a long time ago, but they're just being sent to their houses, right? It's just like out of nowhere. Here's your ballot. You know what I mean? So it's like he could have been smart enough to have been more clear on that to people. So people who are still not believing that's a true thing, you know, because the truth is that's what's going on, right? It's like, so there's definitely some shenanigans going on with the moon on Neptune. Whether Trump and Biden are playing a game together and everybody's all in this together in some sort of weird way to kind of move some sort of agenda that's not what we all think. That's my biggest takeaway from everything. Like, are these two working together? Are both sides working together? Like, Chris Wallace sucked horribly. Like, he does not know how to moderate. Like, if I was a moderator and if Trump was saying that, I'd be like, hey, Mr. President, you interrupt one more time and I'm calling it over and you lose the debate and you're going to have to leave. That's what I would have said. And Trump wouldn't have left because Trump knows that this is his only place to actually get his word out without, you know, being suppressed or whatever, right? So it would have been very simple to stand up and just be like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, not hard. So, but I'll be honest, they both were playing games. Trump's game was a lot more easier to acknowledge. Biden's game actually is a lot harder to decipher as a Scorpio that he is, right? So it's like they're both hiding something. Trump's hiding why he did that for some other purpose, which I think I've covered. Biden is hiding something else that we don't know yet. So I don't know. I remember Biden didn't answer about the courts, if he would pack the courts. He didn't answer. There was things that he didn't answer. Trump didn't answer things, but there were some pretty specific things that were pretty important to know. And then I think the biggest gaffe by Biden was when he said he wasn't for the Green New Deal, and then he started talking about the Green New Deal, and then they were, and even Chris Wallace and Trump were like, "What? I guess you just said you weren't." And he goes, "No, I'm for the Biden plan," and it was like, "Oh, okay." So that was kind of, I think, Biden's biggest mess up. But I would say overall, if we were to take this and not try and be like, okay, people who see things differently or something, if you just take this from a flat point of view of the tradition and how it's done, that definitely, that Biden played it correctly, and this obviously for Biden would be much better, for the fact that he showed that he can stand up there and not gaff too hard. Of course, he stumbled a lot, but that he can consciously be aware of what's going on. But, it's almost like if that's your way of president, that you can stand and be there and not mess up too many words as far as like remembering of what to say. It's kind of like, okay, at least you've scored that point. So what's the next point? So if Biden doesn't debate again, that might be a bigger risk than people think. The news is going to tell you opposite. But now that that's been proven, people want to see more. With Trump would have to prove, I can play by the rules. So, it's a Mars square Saturn thing, so it was not going to go right from the beginning. And if anything, it left us more empty and without any information. And it definitely was a very big battle. That triggered the whole craziness we're about to see. I'm actually more wondering now how it's going to affect the markets tomorrow. And I'm a little bit astrologically thinking, with Venus getting ready to come into Virgo, especially with dealing with monetary and money, and with Mercury being in Scorpio shadow, about to oppose Uranus and Taurus, I would definitely see the markets, whether it's Main Street or Wall Street, definitely are going to take some sort of weird reversal here. And possibly crypto doing something pretty intense too. I would say that a lot of this would be that. I thought that the thing when Trump was asked to denounce white supremacy was very weird in how he answered it, and then he told people to stand by. I thought that was very weird. Maybe I think Trump, when it comes to the racial issue, doesn't know how to communicate racial issues at all. Like, I think he doesn't. I think he's actually understanding of it, but I think he's afraid to say. Like, I think because he's a Uranus person, he doesn't want to like segregate from any people, including for some reason white supremacists, which is crazy. But in many ways that you could say that Antifa would be like white supremacists too. Like, it's a hate kind of group. which I thought that was weird how they're trying to say, no, Antifa is just an idea, but there's actually groups of people out there in the streets with Antifa. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like, I feel that that was a bad mistake by Trump on how he handled that and how he questioned it. It's like very clear. If he really just is Iranian, he just said, everybody, I don't care if you're black, you're white, you're anything, and if you're white supremacist, or even Black Lives Matter, or anybody, stop, nobody do the violence. It would have been a very simple answer, but he turned it into more questions on him about being a racist, and I don't think he knows how to answer that question really well. I think he's not very well versed in dealing with what's happening on the ground with people. I think he gets concepts, but I don't think he gets experiential issues right now, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think he understands, you know, it's not about Fox News and Antifa. I'm literally somebody who researches what the fuck's going on. So, like, I'm sorry to say, I get that it's an idea, but there are people now that took the idea and that actually call themselves Antifa, wear even things that say Antifa, have American flags reversed, spray painted with Antifa. So, if you're going to try and tell me that Antifa is fucking just an idea, and there's no group organizing under Antifa for a long time, like, that's just insane, because there is groups of people gathering as Antifa, the same way that there are groups of white people that can, you know, I forgot, I think they're called the Pride Boys. I found this out today. I guess that's their new name. I don't know, right? So what's the difference? It's the same shit. Like, just different ideologies, of course. And well, I think that the idea of fighting fascism and fighting Marxism and it depends on how you're looking at political science and how you're looking at fascism. So, you know, I think that the idea of Antifa, or just really, it would just be anarchy, okay? Anti-government, period. It's just anarchy, which is what Antifa's idea would be. Because the whole true understanding of the idea of Antifa, you would have to then understand the Nazi philosophy, which was exactly an Antifa, which was to go against what at the time Hitler was saying was the old guard in Germany and take it over and do much better for the people and get rid of the fascism that was the old guard of the World War I German. I mean, do your history and you'll notice that people are fighting fascism, or they're fighting dictators, or they're fighting, you know, there's always a fight against somebody high up. Doesn't matter which angle you want to look at it. It's still going to be anarchy, right? So, like, and you know what, last night I was watching a Dr. Oz and Jordan Peterson, like, it's like a 5-hour interview, and then and Jordan Peterson said it since day one that identity politics, it doesn't matter about left or right. He's just saying is divisive. The fact that we're focused so much on fascism, race, class, where you're at money-wise, left and right, like, it's getting so hyper focused on certain belief systems that how many more are we going to add in here that's going to create the ultimate chaos, right? And you have to remember that we live in a world of chaos and how you handle that. I think that right now the reason why I say that I think we're being played by both sides together is because there's no way to win this battle. There's no way to win. There's no way to win from the left's point of view, and there's no way to win from the right's point of view right now. Both sides endanger the human species and our country and the world dramatically. Both sides. So I think the way to play this is that people have to start. We are the government of the people. So it's about how you conduct your life. I think people are getting a little too scared about survival plans and all that stuff, okay? Like, the people that run the power plants are people. The people that run food are people. People need to start getting together as the country without having to go through the ideology of the government to come together, the same way that happened at the end of the Pluto and Capricorn transit that brought about America itself. People have to come together and start creating without, like, I get it that the whole Chaz thing was people trying to come together, but that was off like a lot of victimization and stuff. Like, we have a system of the way that life can work great if everybody came together without thinking of it as the government creating us coming together. Like, somehow, and I don't know what, because it's almost like, in many ways, if you see the separation powers of social media, right? It's created individuals. We're all have our own accounts. But there really is no way for, like, the country to form forums and groups to all come together. So it's like, why don't all the best doctors in America, virologists and everybody, all get into a meeting of like 500 people? And why don't all the people who could fix money and job systems and make it better for everybody come together? Why isn't it the people? Why are we all watching one screen with two really old men define how we are going to live our lives? There's time from now till the election. What if we all voted in and wrote in somebody else's name? And how would you create a community that would, for the country? And you got to remember that you have the media that controls the informational aspect and the internet now. That's the whole plan, is like, we are all being funneled into you have to go into this way, right? You have to go into this way. Again, and if you saw the person on television for government, you wouldn't want to vote for them. Because they're connected to money and they're connected to all the other people and all of them are connected. If I were to run for president, it would be in my 50s. Not now. I'm 36 years old, and I'm smoking a fucking Juul on a live with my hat backwards. So, no. And to be honest with you, I'm too busy already enough with my own shit, with astrology and fucking the Leo King and shit. The last thing I would want to be right now is president, and I would do an injustice to the world to be president right now when I don't have a grip on my own life half the time, just running my own business all the time, right? So it's stressful enough, and like I'm not there as a person yet. So let's just be honest. Like, it also is realizing that it's not just the president that is running the country. It's all, I mean, it's our local governments, it's our mayors, it's our city councils, it's our local people. Like, we the people are running the whole world. Like, we the people are running the world, and a small amount of people are dictating how it should be ran, which is supposed to be the people. So I would say that this is a very complicated problem that's going to take a lot of minds to come together, and a lot of minds that might need to actually pull the greatest stunt of all time, which would be to, let's not listen to these people for a second and not buy into it. That doesn't mean anarchy or anything, because we want to maintain the same format. But do we really want to continue to vote for all these people that are doing all this kind of stuff? Like, for real? That's the ultimate question. Is that what the Pluto Aquarius stuff is going to be? And somebody brought up money. It's like, why don't, with Uranus and Taurus, that means we should make the money. So what if the people created its own money system outside of the Federal Reserve System? And we just traded and paid for everything with that money system. Right? I mean, which is a little bit of what crypto is kind of doing right now. Which I think, and I've said for years, I didn't really believe crypto would really start to come into its own until 2020. And we're starting to see it coming into its own. So I'm just offering some sort of different insight instead of getting caught up into the same rhetoric that's going to be on TV for the next fucking week. But let's go think the alternative, which is, it's hard. I'm going to be very vulnerable, very honest. I'm a fucking Leo. I'm a Leo rising. All these planets are coming into Aquarius. Fucking, you know what I mean? This is going to be my opposite. So I'm having to look at things from opposite positions. Not my own way. Not getting stuck in my own Leo ego of things. And actually go, okay, let me look at the opposite for a second of all this. And that Aquarius is about the people. I mean, I was honest just now. I don't know. So I'm saying that it's I could just get heated up about my own Leo heart about whatever I feel, and I can attach to energies, right? And I've been honest as hell in a lot of my videos that I voted for Obama. I voted for Bush in 2004 when I was 20. Voted for Obama in 2008. 2012, I did not vote because I did not like Mitt Romney and I did not like fucking Obama at that point. And in 2016, I went off the astrology and I knew Trump's chart would win, and I called that out. I did a whole entire tour, and I actually on election night was in Portland and helped people get through that Trump would win. And then I did tons of videos about how we react to Trump being president. And you can go look them up. They're on my Astro Buzz, I think it's inauguration video. And I said how we react to him when he's not even president is going to be the result. That if people don't want to send love to any human being to hope for the best, which was not happening, that we're going to see the end result. So this is, if we're going to get into some really weird shit, this isn't about Trump. This isn't about any of that shit. This is about how collectively we have manifested this from the way, and 4 years ago with Neptune now squaring the nodes, when Neptune was with the South Node when this happened 4 years ago, that I knew that the subconscious would come back to bite us in the ass. So if you're freaked out about the situation tonight, or you're freaked out by the state of the world, or if you want to blame it on Trump, or you want to blame it on Obama, or if you want to blame it on anybody, you got to blame it on how you reacted to 2016. So that's why you see, and I'm coming from a overview look of the world. That's what I do for a living, is I give astrology for the world. But that's why you see people who like Trump not freaked out. People who don't like Trump freaked out. But then you see people who like Trump freaked out about Biden. People who hate Trump not freaked out by Biden. Right? It's pretty simple shit. But all of it came down to the reaction to the inauguration. So the inauguration of Obama in 2008, I don't know if there was that many people. I think I knew some Republicans at the time that was like not stoked at all for Obama, but it was very few. I think it was probably like the highest rating of an inauguration and the highest energy and hopes we all had in the world, right? So of course the energy felt like with Obama not like crazy. Even though astrologically it was crazy shit going on underneath. So you have to remember that. We're seeing now the result of the energy that started this. Right? I mean, you can't, somebody just said we manifested this because there was so much hate. I mean, I'm on those lines, but I think it's more of just, remember everybody was saying, I'm going to leave the country. I'm going to move to China, or to Canada. I'm going to move to here. I'm going to, that energy is now, you want to go move to Canada? Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you threw that out there, or a shit ton of people threw that out there. And now it's like, Neptune squaring the nodes now is bringing up the Neptune South Node square or conjunction. You have to remember on how astrology works in cycles. So the election, if you go look at it, when the nodes and Neptune start squaring all the way into January, into February, this thing's going to be fucking weirder than you even think now. Weird. And then Mars squares Saturn again, because Mars and Saturn are done with Aries Capricorn square. They square again at the beginning of 2021 in Taurus and Aquarius. And then Saturn squares Uranus and Taurus. And Jupiter will square Uranus and Taurus. So, this is going to be crazy shit. And it's, if we're going to go into, so if you want to take this from a subliminal, illusionary, subconscious mind bender at this moment, how do you think the reaction, if the reaction to Trump entering was crazy, whoever the hell, whatever, I already got a feeling it's not going to be either one of them for some reason, becomes the president, and the weird reaction into that is going to bring for the next 4 years. If you think this was crazy, whatever is next is going to be crazier because of just the energy coming in. That's being imprinted for us to react a certain way, and chaos into the manifestation of that, into that manifestation. You have to ask questions like about the chaos that we've been seeing everywhere over the last year. Everything from the you-know-what, because I'm, Instagram just informed me before I went on this live, like, I'm a creator and there's some badge system and Like, there's a lot of things where it's like, I got to be careful about what I say, basically. So, one, I mean, you all know my 2020 prediction videos for 3 years prior that I said something was going to come and try and control us. That would be something that would be touted as the biggest fear of our lives, when really it's just a control. So we all think we know what that is. Two, there were peaceful protests, but for some reason there was bricks being dropped off everywhere. And I'm not blaming left or right or anything. I don't even know. Like, that's what I'm saying is, I feel like there's something else going on that's above left or right. So you got that chaos that's been going on. You just have like these installed moments of very predetermined and planned chaotic moments. Even the fires. So, and it starts to make people feel at ease. So, do you really think with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in the same sign, and Pluto coming direct this week, do you really think, now that Saturn has and Mars is squaring it, do you really think that this was all not planned? All of it? The way it really is going down, the way it looks, the way it causes the feelings of also wanting to give your soul away to somebody on television right now telling you that this way's the better way, which then if you go to a family member or a friend, or you go to a fucking another side of town, if you don't believe in that sort of way, then you're just like looked at as an idiot, because both sides are saying that. Like, oh, Republicans are saying Democrats are idiots, Democrats are saying Republicans are idiots. Like this is the ultimate, demise that will paralyze the collective. And my whole job since day one has been about illuminating the collective consciousness. So I know that some people think that I'm all for one side. Sure, there are times I will not be in that space, and like all of us, easily triggered and easily pulled into a side that we align with more at wherever we're at, subconsciously being kind of spelled into, right? That we all subconsciously have fallen for a side. And we all have to subconsciously go into our subconscious and break that spell and come back out of that neutral place. And I think maybe tonight might have been that break of the spell. Maybe that's what this really was about. The fact that we all are, this was like the Super Bowl times 10, right? We all wanted to see if Biden really had a brain. It's like fucking Alice, or it's like, what do you call it? The Wizard of Oz. Does Tin Man have fucking oil? Does the lion have a heart? Right? With Joe Biden. And then the same thing, though, goes with Trump. Does Trump have a moral conscience? So, like, we've wasted all of our energy on this, as that's what's going to lead us on both sides? That means that we've given our power away to the lowest energies on both sides. You're right? And it's almost like they know it, and there's somebody higher up that's using these as pawns. That this is a board game. This is a chess game. And I would say that we all have to not allow the chess game to continue to play all these very, very, very synchronized moves. In chess, it's premeditative moves. I'm making this move, and let me see where you're going to make your move. Okay, and seeing the patterns. It's very easy, as I was in chess club for, I don't know, many, many years, that when you start to see in chess how somebody is, you start to go, oh, I got you. I mean, the first thing you do in chess is see if somebody will fall for the 4-move checkmate. It's a pretty simple move. But it determines on how well somebody is at chess. Yes, I was in chess club. I have my trophy still. First place in tournaments. I've also related on television many times on talk shows for people who don't understand astrology that I would say that astrology is very relatable to chess from the universe, and the way that the moves are predetermined on a preset board, that our lives are like that. That's why I do not believe in full free will. I mean, I believe in the free will within the chess game, but I don't think that the free will outside the chess game is allowed this life. But all this is very strategic while we are being kind of like, you know. I actually saw a very, very, very disturbing video today that was sent to me by an anonymous source that's very close to me, but that, you know, all these moves are being set up. At the end of the day, it really doesn't kind of matter what side would win anyway, because it's like it's all trying to get us to this really, really bad place in the next 4 years anyway. So, and it's people having to take the power back into themselves, and not in a Antifa way, not in a white supremacist way, not in a Black Lives Matter way, but people, tribe, one tribe, not all in these individual tribes that fight against each other. You know what I mean? So, am I going to vote? At this point, I don't know. It's weird, especially because I just am kind of like, just to be honest with you all see how much I did on 2020 What's Next, my Destiny's Call video for the last... I've been looking at this shit for years astrologically and knowing that there's something hidden beyond our eyes about all this. I've been just trying to find the answer through the astrology and through spirituality and through the channeling and through connecting to my ancestors and connecting to other people of how the fuck am I going to give the information, and others in this community are going to give the information to bring us all back to that one tribe and not cause a war and not cause a coup of our own ways that we have set up things in our life, but understand there's a system that's in place. You don't want to demolish a whole system, because then we would be rebuilding it for fucking another 200 plus years. But not fall for what's being sold to us on a boob tube and have the people do something different about everything, you know? And I don't know what that answer is, and I don't think that anybody does at the moment. I think that's the frustration we're in right now with Mars square in retrograde in Aries to Saturn in Capricorn, is that the system is so big and it's I don't want to call it a facade, but it's partly a facade. It's projecting. Jupiter and Pluto is the biggest projection on top of Saturn ever. The projection of complete control, right? So it's fear. The projection of the biggest fear of control. So you have that from the left and you have that from the right. Depending on what side you're on, you know, oh my God, socialism, or oh my God, this guy's going to kill us because he's crazy, or he's a fucking fascist, right? So I am not somebody who has that answer fully yet, because it's a collective conscious. All of us have the answer, and all of us have the unique pieces to that answer. It's not one person. And that's what I think I see from the reflection of this debate tonight was, wow, are we all going to really just fall for one person up on that stage to fucking save it all? No. It's where we put our energy in. That's our free will. Where we put our energy in, that will change things. And both those sides right now, energetically, do not feel right. 84% of the people felt like it was a negative debate from both sides. So we need to put our energy somewhere else. And unfortunately, at this point, we've wasted our time and our energy so much, which is part of the whole lesson of Capricorn, of the patience, of frustration, till you get to a point like tonight with Mars retrograde square Saturn to be like, okay, I don't identify with this fucking structure anymore. None of us do. If you want to get to the deepest part of the collective consciousness right now, and the deepest heart of the collective consciousness, none of us truly even want any of that on both sides. But all of us want the basic fundamental element of the way that the system works. So, that answer's from the people. And the people rallying the people right now are these two old dudes. So, I don't know. That's what I have to say about all that. And it's going to take some time. Again, I don't think this might be somebody else on the ticket. I think that this is going to be some weird thing. And you have to understand the constitutional law. If nobody is declared, I'll find it really quick here. I want to get the exact days right. Okay, if president not certified by the electoral college, what happens? So it's like so it's counted in Congress, right? So the president and vice president must achieve a majority of electoral of 270 votes to be elected. In the absence of a majority, the House selects the president and the Senate selects the vice president. That's what happened in House of Cards. So would it be the House selects, because it's a Democratic House, but I'm wondering if it's the House prior or if it's the House newly elected. That's what's kind of crazy. I'm not a constitutional scholar, so so here it is. So December 14th of 2020, the electors meet in their respective states to select the president and vice president of the United States. No constitutional provision or federal law requires electors to vote in accordance with the popular vote in their states. The Supreme Court decided in 2020 that states can enact requirements on how electors vote. The Electoral College website lists the states that we are aware of that have laws to bind electors to candidates. That's new. The electors record their votes on 6 certificates to vote, which are then paired with 6 remaining original certificates of ascertainment. After signing that original on January 6, 2021, counting electoral votes in Congress. The Congress meets in joint session to count the electoral votes. The president of the Senate is the presiding officer. If a senator and a House member jointly submit an objection, each House would retire to its chamber to consider it. The president and the vice president must achieve a majority electoral, like I said. If a Senate submits conflicting electoral votes to Congress, the two houses acting concurrently may accept or reject them. If they do not concur, the votes of the electors certified by the governor of the state would be counted in Congress. The deadline's actually December 23rd. If the president of the Senate and the archivist should have the electoral votes in hand by December 23rd of 2020, if votes are lost or delayed, the archivist may take extraordinary measures to retrieve duplicate originals on or before January 3rd, transfer certificate as the new Congress assembles. So as the new Congress assembles, the archivist transmits sets of certificates to Congress as requested. This generally happens when the Senate does not receive its set of certifications on time. The transfers occur in late December or early January, when OFR's legal staff meet with representatives of the Secretary of the Senate and the Clerk of the House. So basically, the Congress would decide, from the way that it would be, the newly elected Congress, whoever is in control of the Senate would pick the president, and they could choose anybody they want and vote on it. Then the vice president would be whoever's in control of the House. So let's say the Democrats win the House and the Senate, they could pick two Democratic people that they want. Wouldn't even have to be Joe Biden, right? Because they didn't get it. Or Kamala Harris, which doesn't look like. That's what I've been saying. And you all know I've said this prediction for fucking a year plus, that I don't see either one who we see up there as our president. I don't see them. And then I'll say it again. I know I'm the craziest person in the whole world when I say some of this stuff. That the only chart that shows the most radically out of nowhere showing up as a president would be Pete Buttigieg. The energy of Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn brought in JFK, which was a very young, different energy, very middle of the road. Pete Buttigieg would be the first gay president, who was in the military and gay, because we've had military presidents before, and is very middle of the road and doesn't align with the extreme left and doesn't, of course, align with the extreme right, but at least was talking about physical conservancy and so forth. So he also met with Jimmy Carter right the day that he quit or suspended his campaign. So what if it was Pete Buttigieg and Mike Pence or something? Or what if it was Mike Pence and Pete Buttigieg? You know? Or what if it was Mitt Romney and Pete Buttigieg? Or Pete Buttigieg and Mitt Romney? Or what was it? What if it was Pete Buttigieg and Ted Cruz? Or Ted Cruz and Pete Buttigieg? That's my prediction, is something like that. I agree. I think Andrew Yang would be bomb. I think Andrew Yang and Pete Buttigieg would be great. There's my truth. I know people want to hear something different from me. But if you want my ultimate truth, that they're the most middle, and the whole entire situation this year about helping people with $1,200 checks came from Andrew Yang. Like, they just kind of stole that from him. You know what I mean? The only reason why I like Pete Buttigieg is because he was talking about the younger generation bringing up their ways, but also not going too far extreme at the same time, and staying conservative while staying, you know, even with healthcare, right? Like making sure that people keep their insurance and that there's a Medicare for all offer. So I was like, okay. It was very mercurial. It was very middle of the road, like, you know. And that's just coming off what I had got, right? But also JFK did get assassinated, and there's the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And I've covered all this on my Era of Providence, which is free on YouTube. It's an 1.5-hour lecture, and I go through all the Jupiter-Saturn presidential election stuff. And it's not just death. It's weird situations. It's Aaron Burr as the vice president shooting his opponent, and a duel, and that's legal. And there in 1800 or 1820, right? There is so much there. That's why when everybody keeps asking me if it's going to be Trump or Biden, I just laugh and I say, no, I don't see any one of them. So, it's free. Era of Providence is free on YouTube. I put it out for free 6 months ago. It's an 1.5 hours long. So, no, Kanye's not. I've done his chart. He wouldn't have a possibility till 2024. And you have to remember, with Kanye, unless America writes him in over everybody else, you have to remember that the House and the Senate ain't going to pick Kanye, you know what I mean? Especially with, you know, the stuff that happened with him and Kim Kardashian, and him and his mental health and his meds, and him, you know. They're not ready to go put somebody with bipolar disorder who's doesn't have it fully under control up yet, you know. Kanye's chart ain't there yet. So we have to remember that Jupiter and Saturn meet December 21st. And that's the weird throw-off, because December 23rd is the deadline for receipt of electoral votes, no later than 9 days after the meeting of the electors. So they all must be in hand by December 23rd. December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn meet, and that's going to throw us for an ultimate weird curveball. So I definitely don't think we're going to see a normal election, and I don't think we're going to see knowing who the president is. And even if it's acting like it is, something's going to happen in between there weird too. And I definitely think this thing's going to go to very Aquarian style, to the people, to the... So really, it's all about who you vote for in Congress. That's been my prediction. That's why I will not predict Trump or Biden. And I have said the craziest shit. When you all thought I was crazy last year, talking about a PLAGUE nonstop coming in that's going to control people, I have the tapes. I have plenty of them to show you. It's like, if you followed me long enough, you know I called that shit out for years. 4 years. And everybody thought I was like, just, what is he talking about? I'm trying to tell you that there's something about Pete Buttigieg that you all don't know yet. And that's not because I like him or anything. It's because I'm running the astrology. Jupiter, Saturn, and Capricorn was 1960. Brought in JFK. Was a totally different and the youngest president of all time. And Pete Buttigieg would be the youngest. He was a young senator, JFK. Pete Buttigieg is a young mayor. That'd be even weird. A mayor, right? Like, there's something about that. There's something about his sun that sits at 29 degrees of Capricorn. I just said why him. Because he fits the exact narrative of the Jupiter-Saturn Capricorn story of 1960. His birthday is January 19th of 82. He's born with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in his chart in Libra. He also is having the Saturn-Pluto conjunction square his Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So he is the square point of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that we are under right now. And his Sun is going to be with a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is going to happen at 29 degrees. Both will be there and then go into Aquarius at 0 and exactly meet. So they will be dead on his Sun at the exact same time that the deadline for the receipt of the electoral votes come in. Who am I talking about? Do you know? I don't even know who Pete Buttigieg is. He was running for... I mean, come on. Hello. I mean, hello. Are we on the same planet for the second? Like, you guys people wanted me to come on and give some sort of, shit here. Like, I don't sit here at the High Vibe Studios and fucking put out predictions and have them not come true. I mean, I'll admit, when I predicted during the Democratic convention that I thought that they were going to possibly, based off the 1856 alignment of Neptune going retrograde at the same degree, that they might have changed out Biden for somebody else. But it also was a weird situation where they did do the conventions differently, and we didn't get to see the typical states all vote yes for the certain presidents, right? Like for who they're going to vote for. We saw AOC come out and say I support Bernie Sanders. That was the only weird thing, but that was a very big risky prediction for me based off not a lot of astrological backup. There's way more astrological backup of something crazy. And I don't know why, because I'm going more off my guides here with the astrology, that you guys all might think I'm crazy. So, for all those people who think that I'm just all Trump all the way or something and doing this job, I'm sorry to say, when I do this job, I'm nobody. I'm for nobody. I'm in the astrology. And then I'm going off data. And I'm going off the true intuition that I feel with the data, with the same predictions that all came true for 3 years that are all up on YouTube. So anybody trying to deny me right now of me predicting Trump in 2015 or 2016, me predicting this plague that would be used for control and that would seem like it's not natural from nature, I can't make that shit up. You know what I mean? And I had the balls to put that shit out for a long time and warn you all about all of it for a long time. And I'm coming tonight with that same guy. And I've said this same story the whole 2020. So, if anything, watching tonight made more sense than ever to me. So if you're attached to either one of these two, good luck. Good luck. I get that we all subconsciously have our attachments to either one of them at this moment. but I'm telling you to listen to your full soul, my YouTube video is go look up the Leo King 2020 predictions. It's videos from April of 2017 until September of 2019. I even put some clips of December 23rd, 2019, and I think December 31st of 2019, of all the events that we were going to see happen. And all of them have come true. So, and I have all the backup there. And they're all fucking cut for you to see, with the dates and the underneath where you can find the videos of when I said them. So, that's where I'm going to end it. And, hey, if I get, you know what? It's North Node Gemini, and that's where the North Node is, and that's where it was for me, too. And that's where I'm going through my nodal return. And my whole destiny is to tell you truth. And to tell you, especially minds with Chiron, it's going to fucking sound crazy and weird, and you're not going to want to buy it energetically. But it might heal you to actually maybe at least accept the thought. Doesn't mean you have to like own the thought, but accept the thought and ponder it and question it and put it into your space for a second and think about it before you get lost into the Neptunian show that we just watched. I love you all very much. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you all soon. Remember, go watch all my prediction videos about 2020, and if you want to watch my prediction videos about Trump, type in Astro Buzz. I even predicted Biden. Go watch Astro Buzz episode 1, the Leo King, on YouTube. I said Biden would come back, that he was mad that Hillary would run, and based off his chart, we haven't seen the end of Biden. Like, I fucking made all these predictions for so fucking long. It's stupid. Stupid. For real. And anybody trying to float around all these other weird shit, I'm telling you, Neptune squared the nodes is going to be a whole nother dimension, and this would be another dimension. And I don't think it's going to the Supreme Court like it did with Bush. This is going to Congress. And with a differently elected Congress, and in that Congress at the same time, if you're people are talking about how, you know, that Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi would be the Speaker again. I don't think so. I think she's done. So, all right. And I'm not even saying that it would be a Republican House. I'm just saying that I don't think that the Democrats are going to pick her as Speaker of the House no more. So, adios.